Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It's 9:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I know we're probably missing some people, so hopefully some people will be jumping in and joining us as we work through today. So welcome to our series of professional learning experiences. Our session today is being presented by Solved Consulting and Tail Academy. I'm going to just put in the chat a document that we will be using today to help you take some notes on what we're working through, and also for our breakout rooms later. So this should force you to make a copy of this document. So it'd be great if you could have that opened as we go through today. Our session today is being recorded. You will be able to have this presentation emailed to you at the completion of our session, or maybe on Monday. This will come to you. If you are not comfortable being on camera today, then you are welcome to keep your camera off, not a problem. But if you are comfortable, go ahead and keep your camera on, and I like to see your happy, smiling faces. My name is Maura Musso, and I will be your presenter today. I am an instructional consultant with Solved Consulting. I am also a professor of early childhood and childhood education at SUNY New Paltz up in the Hudson Valley, and a certified elementary teacher and literacy specialist. I've had experience teaching everywhere from pre-K through adult learners. And I'm very excited to be here today with you during your professional development to talk a little bit about supporting our students with disabilities. So just some norms for our time together today. I know you all have a busy day. So my promise to you is we started right at 9:30, and I promise to end on time as well. In fact, my goal is going to be to end about 5 minutes early, because at the end I have just a little feedback form that I would love for you to fill out and give us some feedback on your experience today. So I will try to build that into our hour together so that you can get on with your day. What I ask of you today is that during our time together, you are here. Try to be here now and be here in a mindset of thinking about your students, your classroom. The information that we're going to be talking about, sharing and discussing today is really only important to you if you're tying it to what you are doing. So my ask of you today is just settle in and thinking about your students, your class, and your school environment, and how what we're talking about can be applied to them. Our course today is going to focus on helping students with disabilities through multimodal instruction. And so we're going to take kind of a broad look across this spectrum. As we jump in and get started this morning, I know we're kind of a small group, but just take a moment in the chat if you can. Just introduce yourself, your name, and either the content area and or grade level that you're teaching. Just helps me to know who's out there that I'm talking with, and what grades we're focusing on. So if you can just jump in the chat, just a quick hi to see who's out there. Hi, Anna, K5 in Brooklyn, welcome. I saw some good mornings from Yolanda and Raquel, good morning. Raquel's administrator, K8, welcome. Morning, Denise, how are you? Welcome. You know, it's It's 9:30 on a Friday morning. We're all kind of not too ready for this, ready for the weekend. Third grade special ed, grade 6 to 8 special ed coach. Awesome. All right, great. So I'm seeing a lot of people popping up here. Special ed third grade. Awesome. We're going to have some good discussion here with all of our special ed backgrounds people coming in. I'm excited for that. IEP teacher. Oh, great. This is going to be a good group. I'm excited. All right. So as I said earlier, I have this shared note catcher. I'll re-put this in the chat for you. I preloaded this with some of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you so that you have these notes. You will also be getting this presentation emailed to you probably on Monday so that you will have that. But what I ask you to do is, if you can, open this shared note catcher so that you can follow along with some of the activities that we're doing, that you can take notes on anything that is relevant to you and your teaching experience. And then towards the end of our session, we're going to go out into breakout rooms. And this is where your breakout room activity is going to be found. So if you could have this document accessible to you, that would be great. So for today, my intentions for our session together. First, we are going to explore learning environment strategies to support and accommodate our students with disabilities. Then we are going to move on to identifying a variety of high leverage instructional practices to help engage the learner across the subject areas. And towards the end of our time together, we'll look at some examples of assessment accommodations, modifications, and practices for students with disabilities. So let's jump in and start with environments. Research has shown us, and experience has shown us that our students who have mild to moderate disabilities can and should be taught alongside their peers in general education settings in the least restrictive environments. And from your backgrounds that I'm seeing you're putting in the chat, you are experiencing this. So let's take just a moment and think about the environment of your classrooms and your school community. What environmental conditions jump out to you that they are here to support our students with disabilities? You can come off of mute and share if you feel like talking. If you don't feel like talking and you want to just put in the chat, just give me some background on what you're experiencing. What environmental conditions do you have in your classroom, or do you see in your school that are there specifically to support our students with disabilities?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Hi. So I would say at our school, we have like small group instruction as an environment that support our children with disabilities, print-rich environment where there are anchor charts and other ideas that supports our visual learners. We utilize technology to support children who might need that auditory processing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. You have a wide range. And probably there's many people nodding along like, yes, we have that too. And sometimes we're so ingrained in this that it's just there. It's so part of our environment that we're not even seeing that what we're doing is really such a great support for our students. So that's awesome. Looking at some of the things that you've spoken about that that you're already doing, and some of these things are probably other people are looking at this list here and saying, oh yes, I do that. So for our environment, we always think about flexible seating. Where should we best position our students? In fact, maybe some of us have students who have the option of not even sitting, that we have those students who are, moving in the back of our classroom because that's what they need. I think you spoke of flexible groupings, our small groupings and how we're arranging our groupings for our students so that they are most accommodating. Our labeling of resources in, both different prints and visual cues, which is our next one. Having visual cues on our things like agendas, anchor charts, and having these labeled both with text and with pictures for them. Field trips, we don't often think about field trips as being part of our environment, but field trips kind of come into what we're doing, both field trips outside of our school and even field trips within our school to do things moving through our hallways to visiting other classrooms. One of our focuses today is going to be on multimodal texts. So using those different linguistic, visual, and audio modes that are available to us, especially with technology, as an environmental support, including voice-to-text software. And then also another example, note making, using things like sketch notes, foldables, and organizers. And a lot of this environment, we are creating our space for our students, and sometimes it's new to us. And so there's a little quote up here that's coming from our state saying that by learning new skills and trying new strategies, I can help all of my students learn. And then something that we probably all know as educators is that we are lifelong learners, and seeing things that are in practice in our peers' classrooms, in other schools, throughout our state, throughout our schools, that we see different strategies that are being used. We can try to apply these in our classrooms to help our students. As we come out of environments, we're going to think about universal design and how that applies to both our environment and to our instruction. So I have a little video here that I would like to share with you. I'm hoping I did my technology right this morning and that you're going to be able to hear the audio of this as I play it. If you could just give me a thumbs up in the chat to let me know that you can hear this when it starts playing, that would be great. So let's take a look at universal design.
But every learner is unique, and one size.
There goes my technology already. It wants to start in the middle. Okay.
This teacher needs to meet a curriculum goal, and she's got a very diverse group of students.
Thank you.
And so does this teacher. And this one. Most do. In fact, research shows that the way people learn is as unique as their fingerprints. What does this mean for teachers of today? Classrooms are highly diverse, and curriculum needs to be designed from the start to meet this diversity. Universal design for learning is an approach to curriculum that minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Whoa, that's a fancy term. Universal design for learning. Let's unpack it a bit. Let's think about the word universal. By universal, we mean curriculum that can be used and understood by everyone. Each learner in a classroom brings her own background, strengths, needs, and interests. Curriculum should provide genuine learning opportunities for each and every student. Now let's think about the word learning. Learning is not one thing. Neuroscience tells us that our brains have three broad networks. One for recognition, the what of learning, one for skills and strategies, the how of learning, and one for caring and prioritizing, the why of learning. Students need to gain knowledge, skills, and enthusiasm for learning, and a curriculum needs to help them do all three. But every learner is unique, and one size does not fit all. So how do we make a curriculum that challenges and engages diverse learners? This is where the word design comes in. A universally designed building is planned to be flexible and to accommodate all kinds of users, with and without disabilities. It turns out that if you design for those in the margins, your building works better for everyone. Curb cuts and ramps are used by people in wheelchairs, people with strollers, and people on bikes. Captioning on TV serves people who are deaf, people learning English, people in gyms, and spouses who get to sleep at different times. UDL takes this idea and applies it to the design of flexible curriculum. UDL goes beyond access because we need to build in support and challenge. So how do we use the UDL framework to make learning goals, methods, materials, and assessments that work for everyone? First, ask yourself, what is my goal? What do I want my students to know, do, and care about? Then ask, what barriers in the classroom might interfere with my diverse students reaching these goals? To eliminate the barriers, use the 3 UDL principles to create flexible paths to learning so that each student can progress. Number 1, provide multiple means of representation. Present content and information in multiple media and provide varied supports. Use graphics and animation, highlight the critical features, activate background knowledge, and support vocabulary so that students can acquire the knowledge being taught.
So universal design was born out of that curb cut that we saw them speak about in the video. From that curb cut where they just moved that transition from street to sidewalk with a slope, it turned out that although that was being done to help people who were in wheelchairs or walkers be able to transition from street to sidewalk, it wasn't just good for those people that it was planned for. It was essential for our wheelchair people, but it ended up being good for all. People with baby carriages, skateboarders, bike riders, rollerbladers. This design that was essential for one group ended up being good for many groups. And from that, this concept of universal design for learning was born. There are 3 core beliefs of this UDL framework. First is that variability is the rule, not the exception. In terms of our students, this means that our students don't have to do the same thing at the same time or the same thing all of the time. All students can work towards the same goal, but the standards can be flexible. The means of getting there can be flexible. All students will become expert learners if our barriers are removed and their engagement is deep and we bring them in. UDL is something that's often confused with differentiation of instruction. And I'm sure we're all familiar with differentiating our instruction within our classrooms for specific students. These are not synonyms for one another. They are similar, but they're different. UDL is all about students being able to self-differentiate based upon the options and the choices that you, the teacher, are providing. It's based upon the teacher creating instruction based upon your assessment of the student's needs. So you know what your students need, you see what your students need, and now you're putting forth choices that can help that student get to where they need to be. Caroline Torres, who is a co-author of UDL for Language Learners, was interviewed by EdTech magazine and said the most important shift that UDL requires teacher to make is to look for the barriers and the challenges in the curriculum and in the classroom rather than in the student. So we're not looking at what the student can't do or what the student is struggling with. We're looking at what can we change within our environment, within our curriculum, within our teaching, so that we're taking down barriers for our students. So let's take a look at what that might mean.
But every learner
out
is
there.
unique, and one size
Holy cow. Tech fail, number 2. There we go. So one of the ways we can do this, one of the ways we can implement this universal design within our classrooms is with multimodal learning. And a type of multimodal learning that works well with this is using hyperdocs or hyperslides, because these create lesson opportunities. So what you're seeing here is an example of a epic hyperdoc created by a student on the Civil War. And in this, we see this student put together a learning target that they are able to explain the advantages and disadvantages of both armies in the Civil Wars and the strategies for winning the war. And when we're looking at the UDL framework, we can see that many of the major and even subcomponents may align with this use of hyperdocs and hyperslides. If we look at those major components of the framework, we can see that hyperdocs and hyperslides can provide multiple means of engagement, representation, and action, as they have multiple pieces of content that can be analyzed, that can be evaluated, and that can be followed with opportunities for students to create recognition of what they've analyzed, what they've synthesized, and really being able to make it their own. So there's different ways that they can use their strengths to present their learning, so that they have choices. They have choices that work for them. They have choices that lead their engagement, that have them become more engaged. And a number of choice boards are embedded within these hyperdocs and hyperslides. So the students can choose their strength. They can maybe write an essay if that's their strength, or record a podcast, create an infographic. So they have different ways of expressing what they've learned, which not only builds their confidence, but also builds their engagement, and is useful for you as the teacher, so that you're able to really get that true evaluation of what students have learned. This hyperdocs and hyperslides create UDL lesson opportunities is linked for you in your shared note catcher. So this segues us into accommodation and assessment, and how does universal design fit into that? So let's take a look at another short video.
Provide multiple means of action and expression in 5th grade measurement using these strategies. Provide alternatives for the students to interact with measurement tools, such as these physical objects or these digital ones in an interactive app. Embed opportunities for students to create artifacts of understanding using multiple media formats, including stop-motion animation, provide scaffolds for the students to utilize as needed during the learning process. Make sure the students know how to find them. Support students to write and reflect on their own goals related to perimeter area and volume. You can model this with an anticipation guide in numbers. Provide students with prompts for estimating and checking for reasonableness. 3-act tasks are perfect for this. Ask questions of students to promote self-reflection related to what they've learned about measurement. Bulb is perfect for this. Provide multiple means of action and expression in 5th grade measurement using these strategies.
So this was geared towards 5th grade measurement, obviously. But what are you thinking about in your content area, in your grade level? How can you see yourself using universal design? Or how are you already using this? And how is this working for you in your classrooms? Again, if you want to jump into the chat and type, or if you want to come off mute, I'd love to hear from you and see how this is being applied in the real world in your classrooms. Standing out for anybody as something that you might be doing or seeing within your schools? No, not sparking any connections this morning, huh? Okay. Oh. So New York State, oh, here we go. Thank you, Anna. Anna says in our chat that students are given a menu of word work activities at the beginning of the week for homework activities. So crossword puzzles, writing a story, etc. That's great, yeah, so that they're able to connect those into different formats. Thank you for sharing that, Anna. Sydney, using text to VC has been helping your students. That is a really great way of bringing our ed tech in there and using technology to support our students with disabilities. That is a big piece. Awesome. I guess I jumped ahead too quick. Anybody else want to share what they're doing? Oh, those are great suggestions. Those are great things that you're doing. Thank you. And I'm sure many others of you have things in your minds that you know that you're doing, and that we're putting this all together in our classrooms. New York State Department of Office of Special Education has resources available for us to help improve results for students with disabilities. And this is linked to you in our note catcher, and the full blueprint is available to you. As you can see, there are 7 different areas here that are engaged in this blueprint, from self-advocacy, family partnership, specially designed instruction, research-based instruction, multi-tiered support, inclusive activities, and transition support. We're going to focus on these 2 yellow starred ones and look a little bit deeper into these, because these ones that have the yellow star principles, they are particularly important for both general ed and special ed teachers as they work collaboratively to plan, deliver, and assess their instruction for students with disabilities. So let's dive into these a little bit deeper. So our first principle within this blueprint says that teachers design, provide, and assess the effectiveness of specially designed instruction to provide access in general education. So in this, Our teachers are looking to be responsive to the pedagogical needs. Instruction within this curriculum is aligned with the state's learning standards. So there's a connection going right back to our state standards. From this, our IEPs are developed, also in consideration with the grade level standards of the students. IEPs are then implemented and reviewed by the stakeholders. Intentional collaborative lesson planning based on those IEPs, based on the curriculum that's aligned with the state standards. Teachers are using the individual data to inform instruction and to design instruction to progress towards grade level standards. And the instructional materials are provided in alternative formats simultaneously. As you're hearing this list and you're looking at this list, you're probably shaking your head like, yeah, that's what I do within my classroom. And this is what the state is looking for you to do. So that we're coming back to really meeting those needs of our students with disabilities within our general education classrooms. So we look at the next one. And this principle is that teachers provide research-based instructional teaching and learning strategies and supports for our students with disabilities. So with this, the guidelines are to provide multiple entry points and multiple modes of engagement. And these are some of the things we've talked about previously for getting our students involved in our classroom activities and our classroom learning. Providing explicit instruction in both academics and in social emotional learning within our classroom. Teaching strategies for self-regulated learning across the content areas. So that, again, bringing in that universal design, perhaps, where the students have choices, where they can self-regulate what they are doing. Continually assess students' understanding of lessons to improve and target instruction to students' needs, so that having that formative assessment built into our lessons so that we can see. And again, our assessment does not have to be big and bold and something that the students are producing. A think, pair, share type assessment where our students are turning and talking to one another, and the teacher is looking at their facial expressions, listening into that conversation. You know, that deer in the headlights look that you see from students sometime, where that's an assessment to you. Like, they have no idea. You just posed a question and they have no idea where to go with that. Or they have an activity and they don't know where to begin. That can be brought in as one of our formative assessments of just being aware. And then bringing in our ed tech, our technology devices, that text to voice commands, those hyperdocs that we can bring in, bring in our assistive technology devices, and making sure that our services are accommodated. So again, with this, probably thinking back on your class, your students, your school community, you can think of things within this that you are doing, and hopefully you can think of ways to build upon this to best serve the needs of your students. So although we're a pretty small group already, I'd like to break us out into some smaller groups to have a little bit of a more connected experience. So I have a breakout room activity for you. I will set up some breakout rooms and I will set you out. And what I'm going to ask you to do, this activity is at the bottom. If you scroll down within your shared note catcher document, and I will link that again for you for people who are just coming in. Here is that document again for you to open. If you scroll down within that document to activity 3, evaluate, it says breakout rooms. What I'm going to have you do in your breakout room, if you end up within, I'll put you randomly into rooms. If you end up in an even room today, you are going to be reading the case study of Jamal. And if you end up in an even room today, you'll be reading the case study of Sydney. Both of these case studies are within that shared note catcher for you. When you get to your rooms, I'd like you to just read the brief case, and Jamal's is right here on the screen. It's very short. And within your group, reflect upon that case and discuss it. Then within your shared note catcher, I have some questions for you to think about and a chart that you can record your group responses in, looking at the strengths of the students, the learning barriers that the student encountered, the supports that were provided, and whether those supports actually assisted your students. Then after your group talks about your student, either Jamal or Sydney, think about one of your own students who faces learning barriers. And then as we just did with Jamal or Sydney, think about and discuss your students' strengths, their learning barriers, the supports that they require. And then there's another chart within your note catcher if you want to jot down that information. And then it'll be a great time for a little bit of group share. So we'll spend about 15 minutes within our breakout rooms, working together, and then we can come back to wrap up. So I'm going to create these rooms for us now. Make them nice and small for you so that you have just a couple of people to talk with. If you have a problem getting into your room, just let us know and we can help you. So I'm creating the rooms now. You should get a pop-up on your screen inviting you to join. And then you can just move yourself right to your room. Even group is Sydney, odd group is Jamal. Thanks, Anna. All right, so you can move yourself to your rooms. And if you need any help, just jump in the chat and let me know. Or you can come off of mute and just let me know.
Hey, Mara.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yes, I know. I'm excited. Yeah. How are you this Friday?
I'm good. My name's Brooke.
Hi, Brooke.
I know I put it in the chat, but
yes, I saw that. I was nervous to try and get everything together to jump in and type back. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is a much smaller group than I was expecting today. I think that said that I was supposed to have 50 something.
Yes, yes.
So it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes happens. I know I've been on Caroline's and every time she'll have like over 200, who have signed up and then she gets about 80.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Damien.
Hi there. What happened? Did I miss something?
They just went out to breakout rooms.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Like there were 20 on. Now there's nothing. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yes. Yeah. They have a small group activity that they are working on and they're in breakout rooms right now.
Excellent.
Yeah. So no, I didn't lose them all. It wasn't.
Didn't end it early.
That would have been something. So I think what's happened is that District 18 got in contact with District 22 to share this great resource, and it looks like District 22 hasn't come on board. That's why we've got such a discrepancy in the numbers. 45 or 46 was the number I had, and it looks like there were like 20 at the most. So I think that explains the discrepancy, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah, it happens. It's Friday morning, the date 2 days before the state test. It's I did question the timing initially, but you know that it is what it is, and you know these guys seem like they're getting a lot out of it, which is great.
Yeah.
So we'll see. There's not super participatory. I think it's morning. Some the 2:30 sessions. They're more. They're a little bit more ready to talk.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, a lot of these guys are actually teachers as well, so they've probably got the state test in their mind. They're like,
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
trying to make sure that everything's in place, and some of them are leaders of schools again. So 9:30 on a Friday morning, the day before.
Yeah. I don't know that I would have signed up for that 9:30 the day before the state test. But
Yeah, I would have other things on my mind. So,
yes,
but I
totally.
did see a couple of comments from I think Sydney and Anna. No, there's someone else who put in the comment, which is great.
There's a couple. That's what's always good with working with teachers, because they always feel bad, you know, if you pose a question and they know that feeling of you pose the question and no one's answering. So someone will eventually jump in, and
Absolutely. So
it's in their nature. So it's all good.
all right, I was just popping to see how it was going. I just want to keep an eye on. I'm learning a lot as well from being part of this, which is great. Seems like it's going pretty smoothly, Brooke.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mara's great. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
All right,
seems to be
that's
no
great
problem.
to hear. All right, awesome. I was actually on the phone at the assistant superintendent, District 18 when this started. It was quite weird that there's the PD's on. I better go. Okay, I'll leave you guys to it. Looks like it's under control. Leave it in your more than capable hands, and appreciate all the work you guys are doing.
Of course, yes. Thanks for popping in.
No worries, Mara. See you, Brooke. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Take care. Yeah, so I'm gonna let them. I don't usually jump into their breakout rooms when they're there, because as soon as they come, if they even are talking, which it looks like many of them are on mute and with their cameras off, so they're not really even doing anything. But when I jump in, they just stop talking.
Yeah.
So you know, so I've learned to not even go in there. But I'll leave them out there until about 10:20 and then just come back. They're not going to, apparently this group's not going to have anything to share about their breakout room because they don't seem to want to talk. But so that's okay.
I know what you mean. Caroline, she'll have like 18 different rooms, and so then we'll be looking to see who's talking, and she'll go hop in there and then come out, and so
so I seem to scare them when I go in, so all of a sudden they're just like, oh, everybody stops. So that's okay.
Oh goodness. Well, how has your week been? Has it been good?
It has. It's been a good week. I teach at SUNY New Paltz, so it's the end of my semester. So it's chaotic.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Trying to get everything done. Last minute panic of students trying to get their things done, and so but it's okay. It's only 2 weeks. 2 weeks of classes left. So
that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah. How about you? How's your week?
It's been great. Yeah, I've just been working and take my dog on walks after it,
Nice.
just out as much as I can, but it's been super. So I'm from Texas, so I'm like central Texas, and we have crazy storms.
Oh yeah.
Day before yesterday, today's Friday, so Wednesday, we had a huge hailstorm, and I mean, like, they were like this big.
Oh wow.
So
did you have damage?
So thankfully it didn't hit, like, I kid you not, it went everywhere around me, but it never hit my like little small town.
Yeah.
The other ones around us, but then it passed us. And so I don't have any damage, but thankfully we have a barn and we were able to put my car under there, and but it was crazy. People were showing pictures and it looked like it snowed.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. And so they were saying that there was like tornado warnings and everything, and the sirens were going off. So it was wild.
Oh, so scary.
Yeah, and apparently it's supposed to happen again this evening. So
oh no. Oh.
April showers. It's just
Yeah,
what
right.
it
Yeah,
brings.
yeah. I don't think that's what they meant when they said April showers, not big ice balls falling from the sky.
I don't think April hail.
Yeah, exactly. That is not, that's not the saying.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm in New York. I'm in like, just about 90 miles, north of Manhattan. Um,
Okay, cool.
so we should be in like full spring mode.
Mhm.
But we're not. It's like, it's still cold. It's, I
Really?
went out, I walked my dog this morning with my hat and gloves on and stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on? There's all flowers out, all the trees are flowering, all the bulbs are out, but it's just cold. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, what? It's just, the weather is so weird, right? I guess that's climate change for you, all this
Yeah.
weird things happening.
It's like right now, I think it's in like the 70s, I believe, right now here, but it's humid just because with the
Yeah.
rain. So
Yeah.
just it's just icky right now. It's in that like transition,
Mhm. Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
cold is it really there? Like, it's not in the 30s, 40s?
It's in the 40. I think today's in the 40s. It's been still like, I can't plant my garden yet. It's still getting down below freezing at night.
Oh
So
my goodness.
I have all my seedlings started inside, but I can't put them outside
Oh,
yet because yeah, so we're still hitting like 30 at night. There's a little layer of frost.
oh
Um,
my goodness.
so yeah, so
Crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So, but like was it 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, we were at 90. Like we like literally, it was humid. I had my air conditioning on. It was like, we had these 3 days. It was just oppressive. It was 90. It was humid. It was gross. And then all of a sudden it turned, and I was like, I cannot even put my AC on in the middle of April, but I had to, like, my dog was panting. She was like, so like
Uh-huh.
uncomfortable. So I put it on, and then I had to go back to heat. I was like,
Yeah.
this is not like,
Yeah.
this is not right.
Yeah. Like y'all are gonna be getting sick. Like
Oh
that,
yeah.
that kind
Right.
of flip like that.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Such a thing. Yeah. So yeah, but it is what it is. It's the weather. What do you do? It's,
Yeah. You just
you
don't.
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I know, yeah. Well, I give them another couple of minutes. I want to grab the stop sharing this for a sec. I'm gonna grab the link to the PD too. Oh gosh, let me do that. Get that set up so when they come back. Let them know that I'll close down in 2 minutes.
There's someone in the waiting room.
Oh yeah. Give them a 2-minute warning. Hi, Regina. They're just going to be coming back from breakout rooms in about a minute or so.
I just haven't had it, my computer just shut down and I had to log in again. And before that, I had a fire drill. So like I'm so lost. Wait, this isn't working. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, well, everybody will be coming back to just do a quick closing in a few minutes. I'm sorry that happened to you. That's great timing for a fire drill.
Yeah, exactly, right? And we completed the evaluation for her. You took her
Welcome back from your rooms. Give it a moment for everybody to close out and come on back. Get everyone. All right, it looks like everybody's on their way back. Beautiful. So, what did you, anything that stands out to you from your experience in talking with your colleagues in your rooms? Anything that's standing out to you similar to what you're seeing with your students for Jamal or Sydney? Or ideas that maybe you have from what was going on with Jamal and Sydney that is either going to influence you in what you do or do not do? Anything that you would like to share coming out of your rooms? Again, you don't have to go in the chat if you don't want. You can just jump off of mute and talk, but however you'd like to share with us. One of the things that really stood out to me in looking at these two students, Jamal and Sydney, is really how the teacher was focusing in on that learner strength, that learner interest to really get the engagement. You know, Jamal is a very social learner, and Jamal likes working in groups. He's very collaborative. He's a very good partner. And so that was being built in to the differentiations, the ways in which to use different learning for him. So his differentiation was a think, pair, share, but then bringing UDL in, they were looking at flipped classroom modeling for Jamal. And so kind of just seeing these different pieces of here's the student's strength. Here's how I can change up my learning in that differentiation piece. But then here's what we can do. So Raquel is sharing in the chat that there didn't seem to be many barriers while working with Jamal. He seemed to be a very flexible learner, which is great to see. And that's a real strength, especially of, you know, our students with disabilities, that if they have that ability to be flexible, it seems to be, you know, it gives us more tools. And really, that's what all of this is about, right? This is about building our toolkit so that we can apply all of these different strategies. We could reach in and we can look at a particular student, we can reach into our toolkit and say, okay, here's what I'm going to try. And as we all know and have experienced, teaching is sometimes about trial and error, kind of trying to see what works with our students. And that's what this piece of using multimodal learning is about, is trying to find those different tools so that if something isn't working, we're not going to still keep trying to jam that square peg into the round hole. We are going to switch it up and go to our toolkit and try something else. So hopefully you got to see some of that with Jamal and Sydney's story, and then also in talking about your own students with your peers as well. Some more coming into the chat, Raquel saying that there was also mention of assisted tech, which I think many teachers are not identifying students who would benefit from.
It's now. I typed not, but I meant which many teachers are now identifying.
Now identifying from. Okay. Yes. That's what happens when I type all the time too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and that's a big piece, seeing you know, technology, how it can be helpful in our classroom, and that we're identifying more and more students who can be who this will be useful for and can help us with our teaching. Anna said, I love the use of Flip. We are using this today for students to school-wide that are interested and making an appreciation video for the principal for Monday. That's awesome. Yep, and Flip is a great tool. And just getting some opportunities to just even experiment with some of these different technologies that are out there that, you know, can just engage our students. And again, it's about building that confidence. They look around the room and they see that everybody else is being successful in this one way of doing things. And if they're not successful with that one way, it hurts their morale, and they see themselves as less than. And so bringing in these different technologies where they may excel and they may say, oh, wow, I can do this. I can be the lead. I can be the shining star. That's going to engage them going forward into other learning as well. Awesome. All right, so as we come to a close, I just want to talk about some other opportunities that are here for you. So we have 3 different courses here at SOLVE and supporting students with disabilities. Right now you are over here in course B, supporting students with disabilities through multimodal instruction. We invite you to join either course A or course C. These do not go in any chronological order. They're just lettered like that. So you can jump into course A or course C from here if you are interested in continuing and learning more. I'm going to put into the chat right now a form for some feedback. If you could just take a moment, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to end a little bit early so that you have some time. This is a really quick form. It'll only take you a minute or 2 to fill out. If you could just grab this link from the chat and, you know, give me some feedback on, you know, how you experienced our presentation today, what you would like to see, what you can maybe use from this. That would be really awesome. So with that, I'm going to bring us to a close. So I thank you for being here today with us. I thank you for your participation. And again, if you can just grab this link from the chat and give us some feedback, that would be awesome. You don't have to stay within the session in order to do that. You can just grab the link and go about and do that outside of the session. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend, and good luck with testing next week.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Have a great day.
You too.